John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, or more familiarly, J.R.R. Tolkien, was an English writer inspired and influenced by Anglo-Saxon culture and literature, was one of the first authors to take fantasy to a whole new level. The fantasy genre contained characteristics of world building well before Tolkien. However, it was Tolkien that evolved the genre by including maps, languages, and social and cultural institutions for his worlds in a manner that was still recognizable for his readers. Hi, my name is Marcy Duncan, and today we will briefly explore the similarities of Tolkien's masterpiece, The Hobbit, and his influence, the Old English epic poem, Beowulf, as well as the examples of Tolkien's influence passed down to some of the most popular fantasy works of the 21st century. Here goes. The Anglo-Saxon culture had a significant influence on one of Tolkien's greatest works, The Hobbit. From dress to the communing of warriors, named swords, and of course, the epic poem Beowulf, it is clear that Tolkien drew inspiration from his love of medieval culture and literature. Beowulf is a literary epic of a brave warrior who takes on a quest to protect Hrothgar, a king of another land other than his own, against an evil foe. He is a hero undertaking a journey, a symbol of honor and good, a picture for society to emulate. Like the Vikings, these times believed that might makes right and death is imminent. Bilbo Baggins is also a hero, not of strength and might, but of cunning and wit. He takes on his quest to aid a people other than his own to recover a bounty which was stolen by an evil foe. Bilbo, like Beowulf, is symbolic of the battle of good over evil. Unlike the poem Beowulf, where he believes death against evil is inevitable, in line 1387, it says, "On earth, we who can earn it should fight. For the glory of his name, fame after death is the noblest of goals." Tolkien, however, reimagines his hero to be victorious and live, emphasizing that good prevails over all, regardless of one's size. Living in a community was typical for Anglo-Saxons, as strength comes with numbers. Beowulf travels to the aid of Hrothgar with his band of men, as does Bilbo Baggins. Another coincidence, or maybe not, Beowulf travels with 14. The dwarves are 13, and Bilbo makes, that's right, 14. Tolkien parallels some of Beowulf's characters to pronounce Bilbo's image at the beginning of the quest to demonstrate his growth at the end. Unferth is jealous of Beowulf, who is stealing all the glory among the people. He decides to confront Beowulf by exposing his hubris, telling a story that would belittle Beowulf and discredit his abilities. Beowulf exposes Unferth as the lesser fighter, lacking courage, and proves himself worthy by defeating Grendel. Likewise, Glóin plays a part in condescending Bilbo. As soon as I clapped my eyes on the little fellow bobbing and puffing on the mat, I had my doubts. He looks more like a grocer than a burglar. It is not until Bilbo proves himself worthy by escaping the goblins on his own that he gains the credit and the respect of Thorin. If the similarities discussed so far do not prove the weighted influence of Beowulf on The Hobbit, maybe the cameo of Beowulf himself will do the trick. The name Björn, a character in The Hobbit, means bear, and Beowulf, or Beowulf, translates to bear as well. Seamus Heaney's new translation of Beowulf describes Grendel as a demon who is, as lines 102 through 104 state, haunting the marches, or trails and roads, marauding, or looting, around the heath and the desolate fens, after dark. Indeed, he is a murderous creature that feasts on human flesh. In The Hobbit, we experience trolls, who are evil creatures residing underground during day and waylay strangers along the road after dark. Incidentally, they are also cannibalistic. In the epic poem Beowulf, Grendel's mother is who we encounter next. She dwells in a death den, much like the cave of the trolls from The Hobbit. She too meets her demise, but you'll get no spoilers here. In Anglo-Saxon folklore, treasures and cursed gold are common themes. However, Tolkien proves The Hobbit inseparable from Beowulf when he depicts an identical scene of a stolen golden cup. The thief is a slave in Beowulf. In The Hobbit, the thief is our burglar, Bilbo Baggins. What is largely evident in the two works is the supreme foe in both of the works, the dragon. If you hadn't noticed, they each have the same weakness. J.R.R. Tolkien was a phenomenal author whose authority and impact on fantasy literature inspired a great many brilliant works of our time. When reading the Shannara Chronicles, one cannot escape the similarities of Tolkien's Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. The Dark Tower series is another favorite, and Stephen King freely admits his gunslinger and his adventures are inspired by the epic quest of Tolkien's work. Another inspired by J.R.R. Tolkien is George R.R. Martin. You just can't get more inspired than taking on a name, or at least a distinct portion of a name. Aside from the name, Martin's Game of Thrones contains many familiar themes contained in Tolkien's work. Period pieces with kings and queens, inheritances, and usurpers, enemy battles, and of course, dragons. This presentation explored the similarities of Tolkien's masterpiece The Hobbit and his influence, the Old English epic poem Beowulf. We gave examples of the similarities, as well as discussed how Tolkien himself passed down some of his influence to the most popular fantasy works today. This is Marcy Duncan. Thank you for listening.